Hi Matthew, welcome to my beautiful garden. It's winter, so it's maybe not looking at its best, but still lots of texture for sketching. So this is me in my studio at home. I'm so lucky because it's just outside the kitchen door. As you can see, I love the garden, and it's an inspiration for me for a lot of my paintings, but also my sketchbooks. And that's what I'm really passionate about, encouraging other people to keep their own sketchbook. And so I run workshops. They may be here at home from my studio and the summer house, where people can move around the garden doing their sketching with tuition from myself, or I might be coming to somewhere near to you. It may be a village hall where I'm hosting a sketchbook workshop. It may be a mark making workshop. It may be that I'm showing you how to produce a design, maybe from some organic matter. It may be plants, or vegetables, or rocks or shells, something of that sort, where I'm helping you to come to a design that you can then use to work a piece in stitch. And often that's something people haven't done before. Maybe they've done worked cross stitch from kits, but they've not done a piece themselves. So there's a variety of different things I can do, hopefully transfer some of my passion for creativity, artwork and stitch to you.
Maggie, we're in your studio at home.
Yes.
What are we doing this morning?
Well, I love being in my studio, and one of the things I really enjoy is preparing for my art group. So I have an art group that I will be running a session this afternoon, and I like to prepare examples for the work. So we've been doing wet on wet on a previous week. Those are some examples of wet on wet for my students.
Right.
And then we were looking at textures. So some examples from my sketchbooks. And then we had a go at a variety of different techniques, using all things from a bit of twig to a cocktail stick to salt to a cut up loyalty card, all sorts of things that make interesting marks to help you with your creating texture in your sketchbook.
Yeah.
Last week we were looking at tone. So first thing was to actually prepare a little tonal grid.
Yeah.
And then I showed people, if you look here, I showed people some examples of where I've used tone with hatching and cross hatching.
Right.
So those black and white pictures all over there are using that technique. So those are my examples. Today's art class is going to be looking at composition. So we're looking at strata, so quite linear pictures. So an example I've put together, very simple. So looking at a linear composition, which basically is talking about lines. So if you think of strata in rocks, it's about that linear makeup. So that's a little example for my class.
Right. And
then another style is the S shape. So again, I've done a couple of just simple sketchbook samples. So showing here a river or an estuary. You can see the S shape there.
Yeah.
And then another one here is maybe more about the fields and the little dry stone walls, giving a S shape there.
Yeah.
And then I've got some examples here to show them of a Van Gogh painting, The Sower, and the Summer Poppy Field, Monet. And this is about the rule of thirds, where the page or canvas is divided up into 9.
We're going to be using texture as a word.
Texture, colour, form. So it is the same. So this is my sewing room, and it's like my nest with all my things around me. Lots of inspiration on the wall, lots of threads. Some threads I buy in, some silks that I will space dye myself. All my materials and all the various things I need here. I love using old things as well, so I've always got my Nan's gorgeous pincushion with me. But I will create using a lot of recycled materials. This is a lovely linen tea towel I've used to create a needle case. And I'll do some work with students on one of my workshops. Might be using mark making and then creating the marks into stitch to make a cover for a sketchbook that they will then explore colour, texture and stitch to make a little resource file for themselves. So here we've got fly stitch, we've got different composite line stitching there, it's chain stitch. Few inspiring words popped in there. Chain stitch again, just straight stitch, different threads, and then think nearer the front there's some other stitches. So straight stitch again, using just colourful threads. Again, just line,
like
cross stitch. The golden thread.
That was a...
Yeah, isn't it gorgeous?
Very nice.
Catching the light.
Yeah.
So it's a more contemporary way to make a little sample book of different stitches. And as you can see, we're stitching into paper there. That's using a tape just to do a straight stitch, but creating lovely texture. And you know by now I really like texture. Texture and colour, that's what it's all about. And using lots of stitch to make a lovely fun cover. This is a piece that I've been working on for a little while, and I started off looking at the coast of Anglesey when the sea was out and you've got those lovely ridges in the sand, and in between all the ridges you've got little bits of shell, little bits of stone, and the sun's catching them and it's glinting. So I got a piece of calico and dyed it with tea and things to make it sort of look quite dark and sandy, and then manipulated it with pleating and created lots of little textures with stitch and applique in between all of the little spaces there. You can see the sun shining on it there, it's quite nice.
Yeah.
And then I boiled some wool to make the base, and that to me is more like when you're looking through the shallow water and you can see just little light showing, particularly when the sun is shining on it. You can see there.
Yeah.
It's quite a lot of texture. So my design here is to create a bag. So here's the base, the shape of the bag that I've just shown you, and I'm going to be creating a lace top using a dissolvable fabric to make my own lace and some drawstrings, and perhaps even some shells on the ends of the tags.
Lovely.
So Trith Beach, Trith bag.
The little birds in the background.
Lovely, isn't it?
Does that mean they think it's spring?
Well, it nearly is.
Yeah.
Spring.